Yo guys, what is up? Jerome here, and today we're talking about the best alts to level in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. So we've got that 100% XP boost, which means it takes less than 20 hours to hit max level in Phase 2. That means this is a perfect time to level the best Goldmaker in the game, or maybe you want the strongest and most desirable Raider. Or maybe you're a PvP fan, you want to have the very strongest PvP class to dominate in Blood Moon. We're going to talk about the very best options for every single part of the game. Let's get right to it. So we're going to start by talking Goldmakers. These are the classes that can get you rich really fast. Then we'll be talking raiding, the classes everybody wants for raids that we just don't have enough of yet. And we'll be talking PvP, the Dueling Kings, the Blood Moon Superstars. These are the alts to make if you love PvP. So let's talk gold making. So the first great alt for gold making will be Hunter. Hunters have amazing ability to solo dungeons and open world content as well. The first thing Hunters can solo is Cathedral. You can solo boost people in Cathedral for over 200 gold per hour. It took me about 4 hours to get my first run down, but it's really not that hard of a boost. Once you get it down, you can do a full clear in about 15 minutes or so. That's over 150,000 XP per hour for your boosties, which is amazing. We also have Alderman soloing as an option as well. My friend Frostadamus has gotten completely rich from solo farming Alderman. You get a flat 30 gold per hour, plus all sorts of chances at really good blues like the Pendulum of Doom. And there's also boosting potential as well if you don't want to do SM Cathedral boosts. But if you don't like dungeon boosting, you could also do open world farming as well. Things like the pirate farming in Tanaris are amazing for getting items like Gut Ripper. But really, Hunters can do any farm in the game. You could even sell demonic runes to people as a service if they were in your group. I honestly think Hunters could kill Onyxia right now if the raid was open. What do you guys think about Hunters as gold farmers in Phase 2? Do you have an alt you plan to level next with the 100% XP boost? Let's talk about it in the comments. The next gold farming alt you should make is the Mage. Mages are amazing for AoE farming. I mean, there's so many great options like the Woodpaw farming in Feralis. But they're also pretty much just as good as Hunters at SM boosting, which is going to be the #1 gold maker in the phase. And you can rest assured your Mage is future-proof to boost in future phases as well. Now, we all know Hunters and Mages are great, but what about Rogues as well? Rogues are surprisingly a very good gold farmer. They can solo through Scarlet Monastery and get the chest and pickpocket as well. Current estimates of the gold Rogues can make per hour, something like 25 per hour. So one alt you could make, that could be any class, would be a Transmute alt. So you can transmute Mithril bars into True Silver bars for about a 5 gold profit every 48 hours. I plan to level 4 Transmute alts just to do this in the next couple weeks. That's going to be really nice profit every 2 days. And speaking of profit, you should definitely make a level 5 enchanting alt just to disenchant all the greens you get. You'll almost always make more gold than you would from vendoring items. Alright, so we've talked maximum profit alts. Let's talk about raiding as well. So first up, we have the Mage. So right now in Gnomeregan, Mage is legitimately the #1 DPS spec. They really excel in the hard fights like Menagerie with their living bomb spam. In fact, on that fight, some mages are pushing nearly 1,000 DPS, which is insane. But mages are also really starting to move the needle as healers as well. In a meta where everybody wants to speedrun and parse, mages are perfect for that. Mages are the highest damage output healers by far, which is really relevant for parsing. Whether healing or DPS though, everybody wants mages, and it's not too late to make one. We've also got to talk about shamans as well. Talking shamans, there are 2 different shaman DPS specs that are in the top 5 DPS. As of right now, though, Shamans are the least brought class for DPS, which means there's a huge demand that's not being filled. And while Shaman healers aren't the hottest healers right now, they're still super relevant because everybody needs healing. If you want to make an alt that is extremely high demand with very low supply, Shaman is the perfect choice. We've also got to talk about Priests as well for raiding. Priests are so hot right now, and they're the #1 carry healer in Gnomeregan. The meta is quickly becoming one Priest healer that's main healing, and then a bunch of off healers. You know, things like the Boomkin, the Mage, even the Shadow Priests. Priests are actually so hot right now that people are even selling healing services. You can actually get groups to pay you to go to their raids on the last day of lockouts. And getting back to Shadow Priests, man, they are awesome in raids right now. Sure, they're only in the middle of the pack in DPS, but Homunculus by itself is a 10% DPS increase in some fights for melee. And they have that amazing raid healing potential with Vampiric Embrace. We've also got to talk about Warlocks as well. Warlocks are top 2 DPS, and the actual #1 DPS right now is a Warlock. Meanwhile, in this parsing culture, Warlocks are actually becoming a lot trendier as tanks as well. They're currently the 2nd highest DPS output tank, which is really strong. And there's just something about having a Warlock in your raid that just feels right. The summons directly to Gnomeregan, the Hell Stones, the Soul Stones. It's a really good package. If you want a raid spot in Phase 2, you really can't go wrong picking Warlock. Alright, so let's talk about my favorite part of the game, PvP. We've got to talk about rogues. Sure, they're not dominating in 1v1s, they are losing to the Shadow Priests, they're losing to the Warlocks. But in the open world, with full cooldowns, they're probably the most terrifying class to run into. And I'd argue right now that rogues are the #1 Arathi basing class. They just have so much fun being a nuisance and spinning flags. Meanwhile, if you've got a friend, having 2 rogues ganking is probably the most terrifying sight to see in the open world. At least for my priest. I mean, I'm getting one-shot by them all the time. We've got to talk shamans as well for PvP. I'm no shaman main, but my friend Tazanian is, and he dominates in Arathi Basin. I mean, he'll routinely get 30 or even 40 kills in a game. Meanwhile, they have amazing burst as well. I've seen 1v1 Ellie Shaman duels where they straight up one-shot somebody. And as a Horde member, I've got to confess that I really hate playing against enhanced shamans. The way they play with their super high burst damage and their purge is infuriating for my priest. We can't talk PvP though without talking about mages as well. Make a mage and you'll probably have more fun per minute than any other class in the game. They have this insane burst potential and they can one-shot people with Arcane Surge. That's probably the most fun thing in the game right now, it's just ridiculous. I want to make a mage that straight up one-shots people every 3 minutes and then I just log back out again and wait for my cooldowns to come back. And we've got to talk about the meme Blood Moon comp with Arcane Mage. I mean, people just keep telling me stories about how they farmed 2,000 bloods with Arcane Mages. It's got to be the #1 Blood Moon comp right now. What do you guys think about the Arcane Mage Blood Moon strat? Should it be nerfed in some way, or is it just a clever use of game mechanics? Personally, I think it's a little bit too overpowered. We've also got to talk about Priest. Priests have been dominating in every 1v1 tournament, winning everything. That alone was enough for me to make a priest because I love dueling tournaments. But I would also say that priests are the most desirable class in Blood Moon right now. I'm always getting DMs from people wanting me to heal their Blood Moon groups, but also Shadow Priests are super desirable in Blood Moon as well. They're probably the scariest open world class in the game next to rogues. Really, if you make a priest, you'll have no difficulty getting groups. It definitely feels like I've made more friends playing priest lately, I mean compared to back when I used to play warrior. You'll have no shortage of friends hitting you up if you like this video and subscribe as well. Our community is full of really cool people sharing their insight and their journeys in Season of Discovery. Speaking of journeys, if you want to make your journey 1 to 40 way faster, I've got the perfect video for you. My 1 to 40 leveling guide is full of tips to make your 100% XP boost as beneficial as possible. Check that video out next.